this is to go even further beyond.
Welcome everyone to a Dokkan Battle Ultimate Showcase where we display the defense and damage reduction down there on the right hand side as well as the unit builds on the left hand side. My name's Greg Doran. We're going to get stuck in. AGL Angel Super Saiyan 3 Goku is the star of the show today. He has just released alongside a Majin Buu unit who we'll get to in a later showcase in a few days time. But we're going to be highlighting Goku today, see how he fares. Now he's got a fair bit going on. He's a fairly complex unit. Very, very powerful in the early fight, especially from a defensive point of view. And then as the fight goes on, his damage reduction reduces a little bit. You'll see how that changes on the right hand side with the stats and everything like that. Now when he's in slot 1, he gets a little bit of extra defense at the end of the puzzle phase. What that means basically is he gets 100% defense when you collect your final orbs with the third slot unit basically. And then he gets all of his extra stats on super. The transforming Gotenks has recently Easy 8 as well. Same too with the Goku and Vegeta who transform in or fuse into Vegito. So we brought them along just to sort of showcase them a little bit, seeing as they're recently updated. And Pycon here obviously gets his unit super attack whenever there's an Angel Goku or Angel Vegeta, pardon me, on the turn that he's attacking. So I thought I'd bring him in. He's a bit of a support unit, so I thought I'd show him off a little bit, seeing as he's not usually ripe for opportunities to get a little bit of a showing. Now Goku's damage reduction kicks off at 90%. It reduces by 15% each turn. Now that's important. It's each turn, not each appearance. So he actually, if you're leaving him on rotation, so in slot 1 or 2, the next time he returns, he'll have lost 30% damage reduction. If you do float him off, he'll actually have lost 45%. It's 15% per turn. That being said, he does gain 5% damage reduction that maxes out at 30% as he super attacks. As you can see there, he's gone from 90 to 95%. Now, obviously, they're separate kind of things. So you can see there after 2 super attacks when he's got his full intro damage reduction active, plus the 10% from 2 super attacks, he gets up to 100% damage reduction. So quite genuinely, he's immortal there, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Now, obviously, that's at 100%. The next time that friend Goku comes around, he'll be down to 70%, the 10% from the 2 super attacks, and then the loss of 30% from losing it as the turns go on. Now, this is my Goku here. So once I collect the orbs, you'll see that, where are we? He did 1 super last turn, so he should have 65, there you go, 65% damage reduction. Obviously with each super, it'll increase by 5 until it caps out at 30 when you don't count the intro damage reduction. I really like this Goku. I think his animations are incredibly crisp. I don't think it gets much better, visually speaking, than what this Goku looks like. His intro, his super attacks, he's got an active skill, which we'll see later in the fight. He's also got a super attack counter, which we'll also see later in the fight. So he's got a whole lot going on. His attack stats don't necessarily blow you away, especially when he's in slot 1. He does have a fair bit of crit built in, so that's worth keeping into consideration. But when he's in slot 2 and or 3, his attack does jump quite significantly, but he loses guard as well as a little bit of defense. So he's very defensive in slot 1, but he's much more offensive in slot 2 and or 3. Vegito here is just stacking up. We'll get his transformation into blue in the following turn. Now with this Gotenks, I'm not sure if you were around when he released. This was a little bit of information that came around back then when we were working out how he functions. But he transforms immediately in his second appearance. As you've noticed, he's Super Saiyan now and he was base last turn. His active skill into Super Saiyan 3 is a funny one. If we kept him on rotation there, he would not have his active skill available in his next appearance. However, if you float him on turn 3, that is the earliest you'll have access to his active skill. So when he comes back around on turn 6, his active skill will be available to us. So I'm keen to get him out, see what he can push up to, because he and Kefla, as some of the more recent Dokkan Fest TUR EZAs, are really powerful units. I'm very impressed with how they EZA'd those units. We wouldn't mind getting a few stacks in here with the Z duo, especially given that we've stunned Yakon, the enemy there. So, you know, I mean, they're a bit fragile to kick off with. Luckily, they're hidden away behind the stuns, so we'll get a few stacks in, see how they go. We'll get to see Goku in his more offensive positioning here in slot 2. He wouldn't have guard active, though he does get extra attack and an additional super. So yeah, there you go. Look, he's at 9.6, nearly 10 million damage. And I mean, considering he's at just under 700k defense with 75% damage reduction, he still would have been defensively more than sound at this early stage in the fight. Though, as the fight goes on, and you know, he's at the 30% damage reduction, which is kind of the max that it can be later in the fight. That's maybe not quite as healthy, but we're not at that stage yet, so I thought we'd play around with him. Now, I'm going to try and keep the Vegetos on rotation here together. I wouldn't mind seeing what this newly easy-aid Goku and Vegeta look like when they're fused. We do have to lose a bit of HP for that to happen, though, and whether or not that we get to that point, it remains to be seen. Though we will try and get a few stacks in while we can. The Vegito Blue needs 4 attacks to fully build up. The Goku and Vegeta now stack defense on every super. It's a 30% stack. So getting them looking nice and tanky would be ideal before we get to the fusion of Vegito. And then obviously with Goku in slot 3, he'll be in that more damaging position like the friend was last turn, as opposed to the more defensive positioning that he was in slot 1 in the first couple of appearances. So we've got guaranteed dodges with that Vegito. 8.3 million. They've done a lot with this Goku and Vegeta unit. They get a little bit of extra damage reduction on attack. So they get up to 50% damage reduction, as well as stacking defense, as mentioned earlier. So, I mean, look, they're still at 341k defense, which in a nutshell isn't great. The damage reduction certainly makes that a lot more appealing, but it's still relatively low. They will probably take a fair bit of damage here, and I think this Bubbly lowers defense, which I'll also show. Yeah, so now the way that defense lowering from Bubbly works is that he lowers the super attack multiplier for defense. So basically, that Goku and Vegeta stacked 30% on the first super, stacked another 30%, so had an overall multiplier of 60% after 2 stacks, where Bubbly lowers by 40%. So basically going up by 30 again, then lowering by 40. That's how it works. So that 255k defense. Oh, there's a dodge. What's that, 5 dodge? Yeah, lovely. Yeah, that 255k defense is basically them with a 1.2 or a 20% multiplier in their super attack effect. Now we got Gotenks. Ta-da! I love this Gotenks. I love his active skill. I think he's a very visually appealing unit, and now that he's Easy 8, he's a very useful unit. A lot of dodge going on. He's got that rolling stack of defense, and what I mean by that is it carries over for a singular turn, basically. I think it's a 4-turn greatly raises defense, which means it'll raise the defense by 50%, and then it drops off after the following turn ends. So you kind of get this rolling stack to keep him more permanently tanky, though if you miss a super attack, it goes away. That's kind of the basics of how it functions. So 582k defense to kick off. He's got a lot of dodges, I mentioned, built in, and he pumps up to 728 after 1 super. Again, this stack will roll onto the next turn and expire after the following turn. It does combine with the next turn super. Holy Jesus, 14 mil, 873k defense with what's more than a 70% chance to dodge, I think, now, because he gets more dodge chance after dodging, if that makes sense. So yeah, he's got a lot going on as well. Now, unfortunately, we haven't taken any damage. We've kind of flown through, so we haven't been able to get the active skill with the Goku and Vegeta, which is a shame, because that would have been a lot of links between the 2 Vegetos. We'll pop Pycon's active skill, seeing as we can, but not fusing with the Goku and Vegeta probably isn't the worst thing in the world, considering it's a Super Saiyan 3 Goku showcase. So we probably won't do as much damage as we would have otherwise to give Goku the maximum opportunity to show off in turn 8, or the following turn from this one. We'll give them max key. I think I need to go from this route here to bring down the AGL, sorry, the int orbs to get Pycon support. As you can see, that just kind of quickly flashes a little bit of a buff there for every unit when you collect orbs with Pycon. Now that's Vegito's third attack. This is his fourth, so his passive is fully built up. So any following super attacks will only be buffed from the super attack effect. But still, sitting at 854k defense is not too bad, all things considered. He could have been a little bit higher because his 18 key super is also a rolling stack, similar to how I was mentioning with Gotenks. We did not get the 18 key super in the last turn though, so he technically has a stack on top of what you see there that would have been available to him that we didn't get. Look, we're at half a mil defense for the Goku and Vegeta with 50% damage reduction. It's pumped up to 578k there. What's that? That's 3, that's 2, so that's 5 stacks total. This would be the... oh no. Yeah, so 5 stacks total. That's not too bad. I'd be curious to see what Vegito looks like after that kind of level of build-up, because I don't think we got any super attacks with them in their first appearance. And yeah, let's not mention Pycon's defense. Alright, we've got the active skill with Goku. Now this active skill counts as a super attack. So this will activate the 150% defense in his passive. I would imagine it also counts as a stack of damage reduction to build up to the 30% if he needed it. This guy here, my version of the Goku on this team, already has his damage reduction fully built up to the 30% max, so it wouldn't be relevant. Though I'm not 100% sure about whether or not it counts for the damage reduction. It certainly counts for the defense, or the attack and defense 150% on super that is in the passive. So that's why he's at 328 or 329k defense there, 30% damage reduction, and the super attack counter at 2. So this is a very good turn for Goku. Kind of showing off his entire kit. Bang, not happening, boo. There's the guard. Half a mil damage, 5 mil damage, I should say. I'm too used to sort of commenting on the defense these days. And then look, after 2 super attacks, he's not quite at a million defense, which I think is very good considering he's got guard and 30% damage reduction. That's his third super, so that's the hidden potential. That's 6 mil and over 1.1 million defense, 30% damage reduction. This Goku's a bad boy with guaranteed crits on his active skill turn. That's very impressive. Now let me know what you think of AGL Super Saiyan 3 Angel Goku. If you like the video, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all the rest if you want to. I mean, don't if you don't. Thanks for watching, guys. Boo Showcase will be in the coming days when we get the EZA 4 Tech exchange Boo. Cheers, guys. See you next time. Bye now.